So, we've been getting a lot of questions about LLMs lately.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's a really hot topic right now.
Absolutely.
And you've sent us some really dense research on one specific thing called speculative RAG.
Right.
And it just seems like, from what I'm seeing here, that it could be a real game changer when it comes to making LLMs even more accurate and even more efficient.
Yeah, it really could be.
So maybe you can tell us a little bit about it.
Sure.
What is speculative RAG and why are people so excited about it?
Well, it's really interesting how speculative RAG combines a specialist LLM that they call the drafter, and it uses a generalist LLM called the verifier. And it's fascinating how it uses these two different LLMs together to really streamline information processing.
Okay, so let's break this down because I'm really intrigued by this two-step process that you just described.
Mm-hmm.
So walk me through how this drafter LLM, how it tackles the initial stages of say, a really complex question.
Okay, so imagine you have like a bunch of different chunks of relevant data.
Okay.
You feed that data to this smaller, specialized LLM, the drafter,
Okay.
and it dives in, pulls out these little key pieces of evidence, and then it creates multiple answer drafts.
Wow.
And each of these drafts has like a concise little explanation of its reasoning. It's outlining its thought process as it goes.
Okay.
Which seems like it would be really helpful for the next stage.
So it's not just giving like an answer. It's like it's showing its work essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's outlining its thought process, which then I'm assuming, enables the verifier to then do its job
Exactly.
more effectively, right?
Right, because the larger, more generalist LLM, the verifier, it comes in and evaluates these drafts against the explanations that the drafter provided.
Okay.
So it's not even looking at the raw data itself at this point. It's looking at what the drafter pulled out and how it explained it.
So that seems like that's where the real efficiency boost comes in.
Exactly, because it doesn't have to go through all the data.
Interesting, yeah.
It can just very quickly say, okay, which one of these is the most compelling? Which one is the best supported?
So faster processing,
Yeah.
Potentially greater accuracy. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like this could really address some of the kind of the big challenges that are preventing, wider LLM adoption, right? This makes me think about beyond just research, what are some of the other applications here? Are we talking about like a future where, search engines could give us actual answers to these complex questions?
Absolutely.
Instead of just spitting out a bunch of links?
Yeah, absolutely. Instead of getting a bunch of links you have to sift through yourself,
Right.
You're getting like a well-reasoned summary.
Wow.
Of, expert opinions on something, for example.
Okay.
Instead of having to wade through, like you said, pages and pages of search results.
Yeah.
The applications for this, I think, are really quite exciting when you start thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, that would certainly change the way we access and process information, for sure.
Absolutely.
Now, the research mentioned that speculative RAG using it was Mixtral 8x7b as a verifier.
Right.
Actually outperformed standard models in some cases by a pretty significant margin.
It did, yeah.
What kind of data sets were they using to actually test this?
So they used a few different benchmark data sets, but one that they talked about was TriviaQA.
Yeah.
Which is a really challenging data set. It's full of these really intricate trivia questions.
Oh, wow.
That require you to kind of pull from all these different sources and facts.
It makes sense that they would use something like that, like a TriviaQA,
Yeah.
to test this kind of framework.
Right.
But what I find really fascinating here is this idea of scaling it up. If using a relatively small drafter LLM yielded these impressive results.
Right.
What happens when you start using, larger, even more specialized drafters?
That's where it gets really, really intriguing, I think, because imagine a system where you've got multiple drafter LLMs, right?
Okay.
And each one of them is a specialist in a particular field.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you could have one that's like an expert in medical research, another one that's, really great at financial modeling.
I see.
Whatever it might be.
So it's almost like instead of having, one sort of junior researcher,
Right.
you have like a whole team of specialists
Exactly.
all providing their own, unique insights and analysis.
Precisely, and then that verifier LLM becomes kind of like the I don't know, the chief editor or something,
I like
the
it.
synthesizer that's taking all these
Yeah.
different expert opinions and then distilling them into this final, really well-informed answer.
So, I mean, this could fundamentally change how we approach like really complex problems then.
I think so.
I mean, are we talking about developing new drugs,
Yeah,
designing like sustainable technologies,
potentially.
even like, predicting and mitigating global crises with this kind of technology?
I mean, the potential is there, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about potentially augmenting human intelligence
Yeah.
in ways that, we can only begin to imagine right now. And not
Yeah.
just assisting, but
Yeah.
like actually amplifying our ability to tackle these really multifaceted issues.
It's exciting to think about, what the future holds with these kinds of advancements in AI
Yeah.
and how speculative RAG might, play a key role in that.
Hmm.
But it does, all this talk about like superpowered AI,
Right.
it does make you wonder about the potential risks as well, right?
Well, sure. And it's an understandable concern. I mean,
Yeah.
any technology this powerful
Yeah.
deserves to be approached with,
With some caution.
yeah, with caution, careful consideration.
I mean, look, we've all seen the sci-fi movie
Right,
where
exactly.
the AI becomes too intelligent for its own good,
Right, becomes self-aware and
Yeah.
decides it doesn't need us anymore.
Right, exactly. And while those scenarios are fictional,
Of course. Yeah.
it does raise some, I think, valid questions about, responsible development and implementation.
Absolutely. I think it's not about, halting progress.
Right.
It's about making sure that we're developing it responsibly
Right.
and that we're having open and honest conversations
Oh, hey, yeah.
about the potential benefits and risks
Yeah.
and making sure that any advancements that we make are carefully aligned with, with human values.
It seems like speculative RAG could be, a really pivotal development in the evolution of AI.
I think so. Yeah,
It has the potential to help us solve, some of the world's most pressing problems.
for sure.
But, we really need to make sure that it's used for good.
Absolutely.
This has been a really, really insightful discussion. I really appreciate you, taking the time to break all this down.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. It's clear you've given this a lot of thought, so.
Well, that's what these deep dives are all about.
Right, exactly.
Really trying to dig into this stuff.
Absolutely.
I have a feeling we're going to be hearing a lot more about speculative RAG in the near future.
I think so, yeah. It's definitely one to watch.
Thanks again for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So, like, talking about this future where we have these AI specialists, right?
Yeah.
Like working together
Working together, yeah.
to analyze these incredibly complex issues.
And doing it so fast.
So fast.
So efficiently.
Way more than we can do right now.
Than anything we can imagine. Yeah.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
This brings us to that, like, final provocative thought that we always,
We like to leave people with.
leave our listeners with. Yeah. Because we've talked about how speculative RAG could like revolutionize research, decision making, even, creative problem solving, all this stuff.
Absolutely.
But where does it go from here?
Right.
What's next for this technology?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
we're seeing these really impressive results with,
Yeah.
relatively small drafter LLMs. So
Relatively small. Yeah.
imagine, as these models get bigger,
Right.
more sophisticated,
They're sophisticated. Yeah.
the possibilities are really kind of mind-blowing.
So we're essentially talking about like exponentially increasing the capabilities of this
Yeah.
whole framework.
Exactly. I mean, it's not just a linear progression.
Right.
It's exponential. So
Wow.
as these AI systems become more powerful,
Yeah.
they could be tackling like challenges that we
Yeah.
can't even conceive of right now.
We can't even think about.
Yeah, it's exciting and a little bit daunting.
It is a little bit daunting. Yeah.
Yeah.
To think about.
It really underscores the importance of,
Yeah.
of doing this thoughtfully, of
Responsible
development. Yeah.
Exactly.
We don't want to just throw this out there and see what happens.
Yeah. No. Exactly.
It needs to be controlled.
Like you said before, it's not about
Right.
halting progress.
Mhm.
It's about like steering it
Steering.
in the right direction, right?
Exactly.
In a direction that benefits benefits us.
Benefits humanity.
Benefits humanity, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. This has been incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for diving into this with me.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. I always enjoy these conversations.
Me too. These deep dives are always so fascinating.
Absolutely.
And to our listener, we hope this has given you, kind of a glimpse into this world of LLMs and speculative RAG.
Absolutely.
It's a rapidly evolving field.
Rapidly evolving, yeah.
Huge implications, and we're really just
at the beginning.
Just scratching the surface here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. Thanks again for listening.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll catch you next time.